So I can see how the idea of democratizing AI might work for large academic medical centers. They're going to have potentially their own data science centers within those facilities. They're going to have an informatics team for radiology.
Right.
But in my practice, we don't have anything like that. So what can the DSI do to help bring about this sort of transformation in people that are participating with AI?
Yeah, so I guess the question is, what can we deliver, or what can you have at a facility that doesn't have all the data scientists, doesn't have all this deep programming, computer programming capability that would allow radiologists to be able to evaluate AI, work with AI, create data sets necessary for AI, necessary for the evaluation. Now, I see that as a software solution connected inside the facilities to be able to access your data securely on premises.
So Keith, what's the ACR and the Data Science Institute thinking about ways to solve that problem?
Right. So a software platform, which we embarked on earlier this year, called the AI-LAB, is to do exactly that. First, the goal is to teach AI to people, because there's a lot of confusing terms. It's a lot of new technology. Like you talked about before, MRI, when it first came out, was using concepts that were probably foreign to a lot of people in clinical medicine. It's the same thing with artificial intelligence. So what can we do first to be able to explain these terms that are often confusing and make folks more comfortable with those? Next, inside of the AI-LAB platform, is the ability to actually look at algorithms that have been written, to be able to evaluate those. And then you could imagine to be able to take your own data, to annotate or label your own data, to make it ready for the creation of algorithms, select an architecture, and be able to then create an AI model and test that AI model in your own environment. I know this sounds very complicated, but again, think about MRI. When you have the magnet there and the software's all been written, now it's as simple as putting the patient in the scanner and getting the images coming back. It's the similar kind of approach that's going to be necessary to let everybody feel comfortable, whether you're inside of a big academic medical center or in a general practice, to be able to see exactly what AI can do.
Quite frankly, I think a lot of us that do community practice are still considering more prominently these issues around evaluating AI for what we might purchase, potentially how we could participate in developing AI use cases so that some of the things that we think are important can get into the hands of developers. And maybe one day Watson or Google or even a smaller developer will come calling and say, hey, can you use some of your data and train an algorithm? Is the AI-LAB something that will be useful in those circumstances?
Yeah, so if you think about AI in the big picture, you build models from data, and then you test those models, and then you run those models on new data. So what you're really doing is you're taking raw data and you're structuring it through what's called annotation. And when you do that, you've created a training set, but you've also created a test set or an evaluation set. So the same software tool that prepares you to make a model can prepare you to test that model, and it can prepare you to evaluate that model. Or for example, if someone else outside wanted to create a model, you could take your data and train it up and allow somebody else with the proper privileges that you choose, if you share your data, to let somebody else train a model given your data and your annotations.